Hey guys, and good morning. Early Monday morning, 7 a.m. This probably isn't getting uploaded until a little after afternoon. If it looks like I'm ready for the gym, I am trying to get that workout in and wake up a little bit here in Louisiana. So, welcome to Fantasy Football Academy 2020. As always, I am the dean of the academy, and it's time to hand out some awards for week 5 and 6. Had kind of a little hiccup about the awards. We had a hurricane roll through. You guys didn't hear Hurricane Delta roll through, and week 5 was kind of crazy for us. So we were pushing the award ceremony to today. I would like to hand out a very special award to my honey. My wife's team got the head of the class award for week 5, absolutely dominating with 185 points. That was 40 points over the next closest person. And no, it wasn't me. I was close. I was 21 points away. But the next closest person was, 40 points. I was 41 points away from her in week 5. I did win my week 5 matchup against Dustin and the Flaming Infernapes, but my honey Mandy, she dominated everyone in week 5 with 185.10 points. That was 40 points, as I said, to the next closest person. Also today is our 6-year dateaversary. For those married couples out there who watch this, or at least half of the married couple, you guys know what I'm talking about. It's that date. It's that anniversary of your first date. So 6 years ago today, funny story, I actually was talking to her. We met online, and I was talking to her and decided to surprise her at her job. At first, she wasn't sure if I was sweet or creepy. Thankfully, she went the sweet route, and the rest, as they say, is history. But that day, I actually had to work the morning shift, the lunch shift, and I forgot. That's how wrapped up in my honey I was. So, honey, I love you, and happy dateaversary. So, and don't worry, she works at the gym that we go to, so I'm fixing to go see her right after this. I know you guys are probably sitting there going, Dean, it's your dateaversary and you're doing this episode? Hey, what can I say? I'm dedicated. But no, I'm not taken away from her. She's actually at work right now. So, enough about the personal life. So, week 6, head of the class award winner is Dustin. We're going to take a real quick look at Dustin's week 6 showing. So let's see here. Let's go to the game center. Week 6. And we see Dustin in the Fighting Infernapes over New Car Smell, and absolutely dominating that matchup last week. 151 points. Nobody was catching him. I do want to mention my matchup of the week did really come down to the wire, and as well as my own matchup with C's Cowboys. Thanks to 4 turnovers from Dallas, I lost by 2. I know. And if you've ever seen someone happy and sad at the same time, try being a fantasy player who is rooting against and for the Cowboys at the same time while being a Washington fan. Yeah, I know. It's crazy. But if Andy Dalton had just thrown some interceptions, or just thrown some incomplete passes instead of 2 interceptions, or even just 1 interception, I would have won. Mr. Charles losing to Hunter Hunter improving to 5-1 on the year. Let's look at the box score real quick. This game was back and forth. And it was kind of crazy. CeeDee Lamb pulling it out with 13.4 points. And we see that leaning on Jonnu Smith when he gets injured, 2.3 points really killed him. Kyler Murray in this one getting Charles 32 points, but the Cajun Poodoos edging out the Slutty Mutts 124-121. Matchup of the week called. So, good job for me. I'll take the win on that one. We also see there's a lot of close games this weekend. We see the COVID-19ers beating the Alpha Chads as Dalton beats Luke by 4. And then returning champ, who is my wife, Mandy, over my boy, D-Money. Take a look at that one just real quick. D-Money, Zeke killed him on this one with the 2 fumbles. If we take those fumbles, we add those in, that's 4. It's still losing by 3. But Mike Gesicki giving him the goose egg at tight end. That was just crazy. But Matt Ryan coming through in a big way, minus Dan Quinn. And then we see Chase Claypool, newly added. The Rams defense given the goose egg. So both goose eggs, but the Titans -2 points against Houston. That was really surprising. You know, at least they might be able to get you 2. On the bench, Hayden Hurst with 15.7 at tight end. Not too shabby, but the better play there was TJ Hawkinson. Hurst just been really up and down. If he's out there, and he's a streamable option probably this week with Atlanta taking on Detroit. So you get TJ Hawkinson and Hayden Hurst, both of them streaming options this week. So let's look real quick at week 7, and we'll go ahead and call a matchup of the week. So let's see, we have, I'm going to go ahead and call it right here, guys. We're going to call returning champs and Slutty Mutts. Slutty Mutts coming off of a bye with Kamara and Carson. We see Murray gets Seattle, so that bodes well for him. Mike Evans against Vegas is a good matchup. Devontae Adams going against Houston. Again, another good matchup for the Slutty Mutts. So this is going to be a hard-fought one if my honey is going to pull this one out. So we'll see how everything shakes out. And Mandy with returning champ versus Charles and the Slutty Mutts is week 7's game of the week. Now, the dunce of the week, back-to-back weeks. Congratulations to Mr. Nick. We're going to look at week 5, how he got that way. We see that new car smell in Nick lose to this Charles and the Slutty Mutts, 128.8 to 128.58. Yes, Charles should have taken a loss on this one. Why, you ask? Because if we look down here at the box score, we see right here Nick Chubb on IR as opposed to having James Conner, running back for the Pittsburgh Steelers, with 15.3 points. Guys, This is what I'm talking about when I tell you to make sure that your lineups are set, okay? If your lineups are not set properly, this is the kind of thing that can happen, okay? So make sure that you're setting that up right. And also make sure that you're making acquisitions as needed, that you're making adjustments, that you're going out there and you're trying to acquire players that are going to help you win. Here's why you went from 128 to 100 to 80, and even the 128 score wouldn't have helped him this week, but at least it would have been a better showing. So let's check out the box score here. Now we see he does put in James Conner, gets him 18 points, good showing. Adam Thielen, 14, not bad, but McCole Hardman, and then the Mark Andrews, who is extremely touchdown dependent, not to mention Odell Beckham. So someone didn't listen to me and did not sit Odell Beckham as I had suggested. Unfortunately, there's really no one on his roster that he could have done. Now, what you can do in this situation is that Nick Chubb should be in an IR spot, and then you will have an open roster spot that will be available for you to go out and claim one of these guys who's a better matchup than Odell against Pittsburgh. He could have had Travis Fulgham. Now, real quick, let's look at the players list. Week 6, wide receiver. We had Christian Kirk, Brandon Cooks, Keelan Cole, Travis Fulgham, Adam Humphries, who I would never suggest, Marcus Johnson, no one could have ever guessed that one, Zach Pascal, same thing. Josh Reynolds is only here because he had that one long touchdown. But look, I'm telling you guys right now, Christian Kirk against Dallas, when you were needing a streamable option, definitely something that was doable. And Brandon Cooks against Tennessee, Keelan Cole against Detroit. These are guys that you could have gone out and got. Even Travis Fulgham, maybe not, I don't know about Baltimore if I would have taken a flyer on that one in week 6. But I'm telling you guys right now, it's things like this that are going to make or break your season. When you need that one win, when you need that little boost, especially during the bye weeks, you guys are going to have to pay attention to the waiver wire. This is how you win. This is how you wind up in the playoffs. And this is how you get that championship belt or trophy or whatever your league gives for its champion. So now that we have the back-to-back dunces of the week for Mr. Nick, head of the class award for Mandy in week 5, Dustin in week 6. So congratulations to all 3 of our winners and, let's say, loser. Well, he's a winner of the Dunce Award. So while Nick is stuck in the corner until the end of week 7, where we crown a new dunce. Hopefully he can't do the trifecta and do it for 3 weeks in a row, but we'll see. You never know. Hopefully he does, because I'm facing Nick this week. So with that said, go ahead and pull that off. And guys, remember, if you want to reign supreme in your fantasy league, make sure you tune in. Make sure you subscribe down the bottom. Subscribe, like, and share for me. Also, you can find me on Twitter at FantasyDean20 on Twitter. That's my Twitter handle. Make sure you leave suggestions for the show, comments, questions. You can also reach me, Fantasy Football Academy 2020 at gmail.com if you would like to email me questions. Okay. Also, down the bottom, leave comments in the comment section of this video. My boy Pez hits me up. He's hit me up a couple of times in consecutive weeks with questions about his starting lineup. Please do the same if you have any questions coming up. We got some bye weeks that are hitting. I want you to remind you guys of those bye weeks. We've got, let's see, sorry. Gotta get to the right page. We've got Minnesota, Miami, Baltimore, and Indianapolis on buys. So remember, make sure that you're making the correct adjustments in your lineup. Also, when you're looking to acquire players off the waiver wire, if any of these guys like Kirk Cousins are available, you're not going to be able to use them this week. But if you want to roster them for next week, if you've got somebody who is your starting quarterback that's going to be on a bye next week for week 8, then you can go ahead and claim a guy ahead of time, okay? So what are we talking about today? Sorry, one second. So now you guys are thinking, what are we talking about today, Dean? Today we're talking waiver wire pickups, guys that you need to be aware of and why you need to be aware of them. Before we get into that, quick bit of news. This broke after my episode yesterday, so I didn't get a chance to touch on it. It's kind of unusual, but if you follow out the logic, if they're going to do this move, this is the time to do it. What am I talking about? Tua time in Miami. Tua Tagovailoa, quarterback for the Miami Dolphins, rookie draft pick out of this past draft class, former Alabama quarterback coming into Miami. And I know you guys are sitting there when this news broke. If you've already heard about it, you might be thinking, wait a minute. Fitzpatrick didn't have 5 interceptions and, a couple of turnovers like he normally does, a couple of fumbles here and there. He's been doing really good. I mean, he's got 3 games over 300 yards. He's got 3 touchdowns in 3 different weeks. He's got like 10 touchdowns in 4 games or something like that. He's doing really good. They're on a 2-game win streak, and they're hitting their bye. Well, here's the thing. Thanks to Adam Gase and the Jets for being so bad that they got Tua in on garbage time to throw 2 passes for 9 yards. He was 2 of 2, by the way. So he's got 100% accuracy. So that's good. But because that happened, the powers that be in Miami decided that now would be a good time for Tua to get in. Yes, he's going to be the future. Yes, Fitzpatrick is not the answer in Miami, but he was doing really good. Now, for fantasy players, this does throw a kink in some of your a kink in your machine right here. So, what are you going to do with Gaskin? What are you going to do with Devontae Parker? Devontae Parker's dealing with an injury. He's got a bye week to get well, and we're going to monitor and see how he does and what happens coming out of this. Myles Gaskin, what are the tendencies for Tua? We don't know. He's a new quarterback. I will tell you right now, my gut feeling on this, and remember, here at the Academy, we always, that's right, trust your gut. My gut feeling on this is that Gesicki is not going to goose egg you again, because the best friend to a rookie quarterback is 2 things. Well, 3 things, really. 1, a good offensive line. 2, a running back that you can check down to. Myles Gaskin, check. And a sure-handed tight end that you can throw to confidently. That's Mike Gesicki. Now, what's going to happen with Devontae Parker? We don't know. What's going to happen with any of the other wide receiving options in Miami? We don't know. This is going to be a thing of, if you have a roster spot and you've seen the production from Fitzpatrick, pump your brakes. Don't expect that from Tua off the bat, but he does bring a element that Fitzpatrick doesn't. Fitzpatrick is not as mobile as Tua. Tua is much more mobile, kind of like along the lines of Kyler Murray. So I'm not gonna say Lamar Jackson because he's not as big as Lamar, but he is about the size of Kyler Murray. So he's along that Kyler Murray build and that mold. So the kind of production that Kyler has right now with his legs, being able to score like Josh Allen, this might not be a bad pickup for you if you don't have one of those top flight quarterbacks and you find yourself constantly streaming a quarterback. I myself went out and got Justin Herbert because he has two really good receivers. He's got a good offensive line. He's got a check down running back in Justin Jackson who can catch. So while they do that and they wait for Austin Eckler to come back, then it'll be the 1-2 punch of Justin Jackson, Austin Eckler. There might be another back thrown in there. We're not really sure. But if you have a roster spot to go out and get Tua, go out, get him, stash him, see how things come after the bye week, see what's going on. Okay, I wouldn't roll him out unless you're desperate at quarterback. I wouldn't roll him out in week 8, but maybe week 9, week 10. Now I know, guys, we had talked about hitting hits and misses and guys that I was high on. I will have that for you next episode when we talk again. Okay, guys. But as far as quarterbacks for waiver wire quarterbacks, Carr from Vegas. I know it's really weird to say the Vegas Raiders. Going up against Tampa Bay. Now, Tampa Bay did have a really good showing against Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. But I think that Carr could, if you are in a pinch, could be a really good start for you this week. Ryan Tannehill is one of those roster stashing spots, and we're going to take a look real quick at what Tannehill has coming up later in the season. You see him going up against Pittsburgh this week. He had a really good showing against Houston and Buffalo. Buffalo just had a really off week that week. But he's got Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, Chicago, who are no slouches against the pass. Indianapolis, Baltimore, Indianapolis again. But he does get Jacksonville for the first round of your fantasy playoffs, Detroit for your semifinals, and Green Bay for your Super Bowl. So that stretch down the last part of the season is really, really favorable for Tannehill. So if you can go ahead, stash him, kind of roll with some other guys in the matchups where he's not looking real favorable, Ryan Tannehill can be a real steady spot for you at quarterback as long as you have other studs in different positions. Like, you got a stud running back, you got a stud wide receiver, you got a good steady tight end, and somebody that you can plug into the flex position who can give you a really good floor, meaning the bare minimum that they're going to give you. Somebody like Cole Beasley, who has scored no less than 11 points consecutively this season. Next guy, Matt Stafford. Okay, Matt Stafford is one of my streams of the week going this week against Atlanta. He and Matt Ryan, both streamable. And if you look down the stretch, after you get past Indy, you get Minnesota, Washington, Carolina, Houston. So if you need somebody to help get you over that late season hump, Matt Stafford is definitely one that you can take a look at and plug in if needed. Running back, look, Boston Scott is not going to be on this list because he's already been taken in my league of record here with the Academy grads. But I'm telling you guys, if Boston Scott is still available in your league, please go get him, okay? Why? Because, number one, they're facing the Giants on a short week. Number two, he's a really good substitute running back for Miles Sanders, who's out this week with a knee injury. Guys, also, before I forget, I'm reminding you, check your injury reports on your league, okay? If you're on your league like this, you can check injury report, and it will pull up the guys just on your team, and then you can go ahead and select all players and check it out for the entire NFL. Now, we're not going to run through all of these now because a lot of these guys are not even fantasy relevant. We are going to check Christian McCaffrey. He's then expected to return for Sunday's game against New Orleans. I'm reading this real quick for you guys. So he's got an eye on his Week 8 matchup with the Falcons on the 29th. So you got one more week of sorry guys, let me do this. There we go. So here's injury report. You're going to go to players, and this is if you're using the NFL Fantasy app. If you're not using the NFL Fantasy app and you're using another app, I'm sure that there's some kind of report like this on your platform. Just go ahead and take a second to look for it. Ours is under players and then injury report. Here you can go select either your team, one of your opponent's teams, all available players, or all players just in general. And a lot of these guys are not, like I said, are not fantasy relevant, but you see Christian McCaffrey, we highlighted him. I'll pull this up real quick. If you guys want to pause right here and go ahead and read that. Okay. And don't worry, you can go back and read it, guys. But he's supposed to be available for Week 8 against Atlanta. That's going to be a real fun matchup for all Christian McCaffrey owners. Mike Davis owners, it's been a fun ride, but it's about over, okay? So do what you can. Get what you can. If you want to go out and if there's somebody really, really hurting at running back, go out and please try to trade for Mike Davis right now, okay? Get a more steady, stable running back or wide receiver for your squad while he still has at least one more week of value, and try to get, like I said, try to get somebody decent, okay, guys? Somebody who's capable of carrying a load all season long. That's not going to be relegated to a backup situation once the starter gets back, okay? Let's see. Giovanni Bernard is another streamable option. He's going against Cleveland. Joe Mixon might suit up, might not. You're going to have to keep an eye on his injury report as well. Travis Fulgham moving to wide receiver for the Philadelphia Eagles, gets the Giants, as I said, same thing with Boston Scott on a short week. This is probably going to be, again, the last week you're going to be able to use Fulgham, simply because Deshaun Jackson's back this week. Alshon Jeffries is due back Week 8. Jalen Reagor is able to be reactivated shortly. So with those guys, Fulgham slowly moves down the totem pole and is not really an option anymore. So his production that he's had for the past couple of weeks, if you have not been able to take advantage of it, that window is closing rapidly. Keelan Cole, talk about somebody who has a window wide open and probably has a doorstop in that opening. Keelan Cole is definitely a guy that you can plug in and get really good production out of on a week-to-week basis. And he's always on the waiver wire. Nobody wants to roster this guy, but during bye weeks, this is the exact type of player that you're looking for. Brandon Cooks, another one. I know I was really off of this guy, and rightly so in the beginning of the year. He did get hurt, and then he came back and really didn't have that good of showing. But then all of a sudden, once Bill O'Brien leaves, he's like all-star material again. Don't know why. But he and Will Fuller, I know Will Fuller has a lot of injury risk, but he and Will Fuller are the go-to guys for Deshaun Watson. And as long as Watson is playing good and it's got a good matchup, these two guys are going to perform. So if you need help at wide receiver, you can go to Brandon Cooks, or if he's still available in your league, Will Fuller. Trey Burton, I talked about this guy during draft season, and I told you that he was something in Philly. He was good in Chicago. The talent doesn't leave. Okay, the talent's still there. He just had to work his way through Mo Alley-Cox, Jack Doyle, in order to get where he's at right now, which is a viable plug-and-play fantasy option at tight end if you're hurting on the bye weeks. Now, he's on a bye week this week, but if you are hurting for next week and you have a roster spot available, go ahead, grab him now ahead of the waiver wire, sneak him away while people aren't looking, and you'll have a good fantasy option at tight end. Anthony Frisker versus Pittsburgh, and that's the Tennessee tight end that's not named Jonnu Smith. So Jonnu was hurt, came out in third quarter, only had, I believe, 3 catches, but this guy, Anthony Frisker, he showed up for, I believe, 113 yards and a touchdown. So the production that you were getting out of Jonnu, you can see easily transferred to Anthony Frisker. And he is widely available in most leagues. So go out and roster him, get him, start him. It's going to be a tough matchup against Pittsburgh. So look for the tight end to get a lot of work. Also, Darren Fells, tight end from Houston. Look, I'm loving Houston since Bill O'Brien left. Once Bill O'Brien left, then Deshaun Watson became the Deshaun Watson that we expected to see. This is the guy that you drafted in the 4th or 5th round. This is who you were looking to get at that spot. Okay. Enjoy it, ride it as much as you can. They faced Green Bay, and we all saw what Tom Brady was able to move the ball, given it was a lot of the defense, but that Green Bay defense did not look good. So again, somebody like Deshaun Watson, you can definitely get some play out of Darren Fells in this game. Defenses. This week you can start Philly or the Giants if you are hurting. Also, Chicago was available in my league of record. You've got some guys that are rostering 2 defenses. I don't recommend that. There's definitely always streamable options out there. If you have one of the top, let's say 6 defenses, and let's take a look real quick while we're on defenses. Let's go to the players list, and we'll show you guys what we're talking about. So defenses, and we'll go all of them top to bottom. This week's kind of rough on defenses because you've got bye weeks. So you see the top 2 defenses are on byes. One of them is mine with the Ravens. That's why I had to go out and snag up the Steelers. I had to actually pull a trade off for that one. Tampa Bay and Miami don't ask me why Charles is rostering two defenses like that. But we see the point totals here, and 76, 67, 61, 54, 48. So the top five, we'll say the top five. And then you come down here and everybody's kind of in a jumble. So go from 43 and within just a few points of each other, about 6 points of each other, you've got 3 free agent defenses here with the Giants, the Bears, and Cleveland. We see down here now, we see that the Giants are at 41. Let's go down here. 29 for the Eagles, but they're facing the Giants. So see what their production is real quick. They are ranked 15th. They did have a good showing against San Fran. So they are capable of doing that. Whether or not it comes to fruition is another story altogether. But as you see, the defense is really, once you get past the top five, are really kind of similar. You get a really similar production. So take your matchup, play your matchup. Remember, environmental roster management goes all year long, not just for your draft. So hope that helped. Next episode, I'm going to work on my hits and misses from draft season, guys that I was high on that we probably should have been looking at a little closer, guys that I was high on that we missed on, guys that we did not fulfill expectations. So remember, be aware, hashtag be aware, and check not only the environment around the players and around the game, also check the literal environment, because as we saw again with KC and the Bills, the environment played a big part of game script and made the running backs very valuable for KC with all the running that they were doing, because it was just nasty. It was just nasty weather. And the later we get in the season, the more the environment is going to play into the game for open air stadiums. Now, coming up, Detroit, Atlanta, it doesn't matter where they play. They're both dome stadiums. Make sure you're aware of the weather, of the venue, of the environment around the players and around the game, so you can make the best decisions for your squad. Guys, as always, I wish you luck. We'll see you next time. Any questions or comments, please, down below, subscribe, like, and share for me. Don't forget my sponsors. Love them, need them. We have Keller's Bakery from off the Youngsville Highway at 627 Lafayette Street. You can find them on Facebook. Make sure that when you order that you mention that the Dean sent you, and you get your 2 free cookies. Also, if you're in the Lafayette area, go down and get some grits, get some good corn grits, some rotisserie food, and the new menu items. We got a chicken quesadilla coming at Zia of Lafayette. We also have a pork panini that's out of this world, and some ancho chili ribs. I know it sounds crazy, but go down and check them out, okay? Make sure you tell them that the Dean sent you and said hi to Tucker and Keith and Leonard and all the guys down there. So till next time, this has been Fantasy Football Academy 2020. I've been the Dean. I appreciate the support and love. Remember, subscribe, like, share for me, and please share it on all your platforms. And remember to find me on Twitter at FantasyDean20. Till next time, remember, take care of each other. Mask up if you're still doing it and you still need to. Bye, guys.